The Duke of Burgundy is a gorgeous film from its very first shot, and continues to be throughout, almost self-consciously so, and I chose those words carefully. And indeed, the Duke of Burgundy does seem to check off all of the marks of a stereotypical arty film. Long, carefully composed shots, ambiguously period aesthetic, European accents, and lesbians. And aside from doing all of that artsy stuff really, really well, the movie also tells an intriguing story of power and relationships that's sexy without ever feeling exploitative. Our main character is Knudsen's Cynthia, the dominant half of the film's central relationship. Except Cynthia isn't a dom of her own choice, but acts like one for the sake of Diana's aggressively submissive Evelyn, who writes out detailed instructions and scenarios for the couple to play out. The Duke of Burgundy explores this relationship through Cynthia's perspective, as she comes to terms with having to play a character in order to keep her lover interested, and also begins to worry about the age difference between her and the much younger Evelyn. This is a movie that chooses to explore this weird relationship dynamic over having much of a traditional plot, and does so largely through the examinations of the couple's sexual habits. And despite never actually showing any sex, or even nudity, The Duke of Burgundy is one of the sexiest movies I've ever seen. The film is awash in silk stockings, corsets, and other tasteful negligee. How the two leads converse and play out Evelyn's scenarios make it clear just what about the dynamic Evelyn finds stimulating, even if the movie never shifts away from Cynthia's discomfort with the rituals. How the film plays with the relationship between dominant and submissive would be more than enough to make it one of the most mature explorations of non-typical relationships committed to film, but where Duke really raises the bar is by making that experience feel universal. This isn't a film just about dom-sub romance, but about the politics of any relationship and the changes we make to ourselves in order to satisfy a person we have feelings for. About stripping away the layers of yourself to somebody and asking, am I still good enough? It helps that in the midst of all the drama, the Duke of Burgundy doesn't forget that relationships can also be really fun, and there are a good number of really funny jokes sprinkled throughout the movie that really take advantage of the lesbian dom-sub relationship being a great source of comedy. It also needs to be said just how beautiful everything in this film is. Every outfit in the film perfectly balances sex and elegance and feels appropriately period but never antiquated or costumey. It's cliché, but every shot in this film really could be a painting. More specifically, and I really hope I'm not completely wrong about this, but I want to say in the Rococo style? I felt like the soundtrack leaned a bit too horror movie at first, but it really does begin to fit the further you get into the film and does a great job to heighten Cynthia's discomfort. And all of this is why I started this review by describing the film as self-consciously beautiful, because at its core is a woman doing her best to remain sexy for her partner. And through this highly stylized story of pretty extreme romance, The Duke of Burgundy presents one of the most interesting and universal looks at what it actually feels like to try and keep a relationship alive. And like any great partner, Duke is more than just a pretty face. It's challenging, layered, and intriguing until the very end.